Chris, it is such fun, I'll say, to have you here today. Thank you for coming.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about your journey from being a 13-year-old improviser to becoming the executive director of SAK Comedy Lab.
I think I was more of like a 13-year-old goofball at the time. I don't think I was an improviser at the time. I just got on stage at our youth group and like did front flips and took my shirt off, and everyone screamed at me and laughed, and I thought I was a performer. I guess I kind of was at the time, but that sort of cascaded into just this love of improv and being on stage in front of people. I eventually got to SAK somehow. I got into the audience, and it was just like, wow, I gotta be a part of this. So I took classes, and it just all, snowballed until I was performing with SAK, and then I'm running SAK, and it's like, I don't know how the time flew by, but I had a parallel life of running some businesses and also a creative life, and they inevitably collided sometime around maybe 10 or 12 years ago.
Okay, well, I'm sure all of the parents are wondering, so you have no day job?
Technically I do, but really
you
no.
do?
Yeah, my day job is SAK. I'm full time with SAK, but it's a fun way to spend my time.
For those unfamiliar with improv, how would you describe this art form, and why do you think it resonates so well with audiences?
Well, I think everyone is very familiar with a polished form of creative production, which is like someone writes material and it gets meticulously crafted, and someone rehearses that material and it gets performed, and everything is very neat and tidy in how that is relayed to the public. And obviously that is how most performance is, and there's a great deal of value to that. And what we do with improv is really strip it down so that the creative content that is put out to the public is created in real time. Everything is done in the moment. Everything is produced off of the top of our heads. It's like the excitement that you get if you're watching any kind of like animal show at a theme park where the animal doesn't do the thing that the animal's supposed to do, and the performers are scrambling to try to fill time while the rat like is running back and forth on the wrong line. Like, that's what we're constantly doing in improv. Like it's replicating that tightrope act where we're really on the edge of our seats and creating in the moment. So there's a scary element to it, and the audience likes to see us do that rather than them having to do it. But it's that excitement factor that I think sets it maybe apart from other types of theater, that in the moment type of creation.
I definitely like the outtakes at the end of movies. I wish they did that more.
Yeah. That's all we're doing. Like, our entire show is just outtakes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Can you share the mission and values of SAK Comedy Lab and how they contribute to the cultural landscape of Central Florida?
Yeah, our historical mission, if you kind of take it back, is we want to create an audience, and we define that audience as a group of people who want joy, and we create that joy by playing together. And our values are really coalesce around the ideas of truth, excellence, and joy. Our product is centered around authenticity, being in the moment, being authentic, excellence. Everything that we do is done to the best of our ability. We put the best possible product forward to the public, and joy is like everything we do is centered around the idea of bringing joy to our guests and to the people of Orlando.
How does the SAK Comedy Lab encourage young talent, and what impact has it had in their development?
Well, I guess I can speak to that, having been a young talent and come through SAK. I think first and foremost, we are a venue that showcases really fun, joyful, wholesome, amazing talent, and a product that's really exciting, if I do say so myself. But like being in the seat at our theater, it can be really exciting for a young performer or someone who's aspiring to see improv performed with a group of people that are obviously having a really fun time together and really supporting each other. And that's really important. Improv cultivates this ethic of support. And for young people, seeing that, it can be really contagious, and it's like inspiring. You want to be a part of that. So that's the first piece of it, I think, that SAK provides. And the second piece of it is an avenue then to exercise that. And our classes certainly are one way that we help young people exercise that talent. There are our teen classes or even our adult classes. We welcome 16 and up, so we have some young people take our adult classes. Our scholarship programs help people who can't quite afford it. We just try to get people involved. Anyone who comes through our program, if you go through our entire student program, you're performing on stage in front of an audience at least 6 times through that whole journey. So you get the experience of learning the art form, learning that the ethic of support, being with like-minded people, and then performing in front of an audience. So it's a really unique experience.
You did suggest an improv game for us to do. It's called Word at a Time Story.
Those are the words. Yeah, that's the title. That's the title.
So how do we play?
So we're going to tell a story, but we're going to be telling that story one word at a time, going back and forth.
Okay.
And the fun thing is we'll just stay in the moment. We won't know where it will go. It'll start to go off the rails, and we'll just decide when we want it to end, whenever we want it to end.
Once.
Upon
A.
time.
Jack.
Had.
A.
Beanstalk.
He.
Climbed.
Up.
The.
Beanstalk.
And.
Fell.
Breaking.
His.
Back.
So.
He.
Learned.
To.
Not.
Move.
Or.
Otherwise.
He.
Could.
Break.
More.
Bones.
In.
His.
Body. We can start a new sentence. Maybe start one more sentence.
He.
Called.
A.
Ambulance.
Who.
Arrived.
Very.
Quickly.
And.
Picked.
Him.
Up.
And.
Put.
Him.
Into. Car.
This.
Rescued.
Did.
Happen.
Pretty.
Quickly.
Jill.
Jill.
Also.
Met.
Jack.
At.
The.
Hospital.
All right, that sounds like a good ending. I think we ran into trouble grammatically in our last ending, but our last sentence. But that's the joy of this. It's messy, it's sloppy, and everyone gets to laugh at us messing up.
Yeah, I just was like thinking going in some opposite direction. You went in this direction.
Yeah, that's the struggle of the improviser. We can never get the other person to do what we want them to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, that's fun.
That was fun. You mentioned earlier that you worked in businesses and starting them. How does this entrepreneurial background influence your leadership at the SAK Comedy Lab?
Yeah, I think I'm about to go to an improv leadership conference coming up pretty soon, and I was asked on the intake form, was there any kind of panel that I would want to lead, or any kind of any specific area of expertise that I think I particularly shine in? And I was looking at that and going, I don't know one particular area if I were to drill down on it. I think my background gives me a lot of experience in making really good sound analytical decisions. My background is a lot in investing. I have rental real estate. I own several properties around town, but also in operating retail locations. I had an export business where I sold self-tanning lotion to companies overseas. I was doing that out of high school. It's a weird business to be in, but somehow I found myself in that business. And so being an entrepreneur, I think, is ultimately a very creative endeavor, but it requires really good decision-making abilities, really good analytical abilities, to be able to sit down and kind of sort through the right path forward, to be able to envision something and to chart towards that vision. And so that to me is the thing I feel like I excel at, and I was able to bring that to the SAK world, the improv world.
Are there opportunities for volunteering and collaboration?
Certainly, yeah. since our inception as an improv theater in 1991, we've been supported by a volunteer staff to one degree or another. In the past, we've really leaned on volunteers. Nowadays, we're able to pay people more. We're doing better as a company. And so our preference is always, if we can pay people, we'd like to pay people more. So we'd like to pay people, period. But we do have some volunteer opportunities that still come up every now and again. And some people, they don't want necessarily a job. They just were like, hey, I want to get involved in a theater environment and pop in every once in a while. And so we do have an operations staff that can field some requests from people that are like, yeah, I'd love to be involved and maybe pop in, help clean up, help be a part of the theater environment and see how that goes. So there's certainly opportunities for that if anyone wanted to reach out.
Can you share one of your favorite onstage moments or experiences with your time at SAK?
Oh boy, they come in and then just exit as quickly as they come in, because every night at SAK we are just laughing about a half a dozen or more different things that give you good belly laughs. Mm-hmm. One weird thing that comes to mind is for a long time we would throw Tootsie Rolls out to our audience. And that was just a thing we did. And then the pandemic came and we stopped throwing things at people. But for a while we would come out on stage at the beginning of our show and throw Tootsie Rolls at people as part of our welcome. And so you would have these Tootsie Rolls just littered across the floor for most of the show. And we noticed during one of the shows there was looked to be about a 3-year-old who would spend most of the time in his own world picking up Tootsie Rolls, going on a hunt right in front of the stage, just in his own world picking up Tootsie Rolls, and just got more and more bold as the show went on and would step up on the front lip of the stage and find more Tootsie Rolls. And more people in the audience started noticing this kid. And so he became harder and harder to ignore. And the parents would kind of pluck him off and kind of, put him back in his seat, and he would go out and find more Tootsie Rolls. So eventually we just sort of centered the whole show around him at one point, and we found a box and we set up the box on stage like it was a trap, and we tilted the front of the box up, and we propped it open with a stick, and we tied a little rope to the stick like we were setting up a little trap. And then we hid behind a chair and put a big pile of Tootsie Rolls under the box, and we lured this kid with a trail of Tootsie Rolls onto the stage, up the steps and onto the stage. The audience is roaring and the kid has no idea anything is up. And I don't even remember if we trapped him in the box. I think we did trap him in the box for a second. Apparently his parents were totally fine with that. But that was a fun memory. I think there's a picture floating around somewhere.
What can audience look forward to in the coming months?
Well, depending on when this is released, we are moving venues. So since 2010, we had been in 29 South Orange Avenue, so right on Pine and Orange. And now we're going to be in the 55 West building on Church Street. And if you come visit us there, you're going to see a vastly different experience, upgraded experience. We're really excited about what we're putting together there. I would say you're going to see the same awesome SAK product, but just in a newer, refreshed theater. And the lobby and concession and bar experience is just going to be on a whole new level, and just really excited. We're really excited about it, and I think I don't have pictures to show you yet because this is happening in the past. But depending on when this is released, go Google it, come visit us. You'll have a really good time in our new space, and that's at 55 West.
Are there any special shows or events you'd like to highlight?
We don't, our shows run on a regular kind of rotation. So our Fridays and Saturday shows are the Duel of Fools and the King of the Hill. That's our staple shows. Those are Friday and Saturday, 7 and 9. And then we have some really fun shows, our 7 o'clock shows are all ages. And then the King of the Hill on 9 o'clock Friday and Saturday is like a PG-13 show. And then we have sort of the off-the-rails, adults-only kind of shows if you're into that kind of thing. Our Wind Down Wednesday shows happen once a month, so look out for those on our schedule on a Wednesday. And then the Truth or Dare with P. Sparkle is just a wild, off-the-rails, no content. Definitely leave your kids at home with a babysitter for that one. That generally happens on a Thursday, 9:30. So those are kind of our regular shows. Look out on the calendar because we'll often have like Mother's Day and Father's Day shows that are free for moms, free for dads. So some cool stuff happens every year.
So how can people learn more and stay in contact?
I would recommend they go to SAK.com, SAK.com. There's also a good way to get some good discounts on like last minute deals to SAK.com, and that is to text SAK to our phone number, 407-648-0001. And if you text SAK to that number, you'll get on our text list and you'll get like 40% off some last minute deals to shows.
All right. Well, thank you so much. It was a lot of fun.
All right, this was fun. Thanks.
If you're enjoying this show, please subscribe to our channel and follow our Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter accounts.